All right, so check it out. I got a file open here. It's not found, but it lives on my computer system somewhere, right? Documents, blah, blah, blah. This is a Git code base. You can see it here. Here's my make file. You can see I set up the commands. I tell it exactly where the commands live as little variables, where this is the name I want the file to be spit out as, this format I want. This is the file name, root input. This is the main text file where I draw the whole document together, right? And then here, when I run make, it will create the output file, Mage's Guide to Magic Mushrooms.pdf, and it'll run these commands. And first it runs this command, and then it runs bibtex, and then it needs to rerun this because this second command creates files needed for this one, which then creates files needed, so you need to run this a second time, and then you run it one last time, and it gives you your full bibliography, which is standard, I think. It's just like an old tool, so that's how it works. And then if I run make clean, it'll get rid of all my documents that I don't need. I have a git ignore file that has files that I don't want saved in the repository that are generated through this process. So, and then also you can see those are all removed when I run a make clean. So if I do make clean, there's nothing to delete right now. So here's my files, right? So front matter and back matter, acknowledgements. This is a chapter, contraindications. Declarations is a file where I set up some code. It's like a header file for C. Front matter, that's for front matter. That's stuff like the license, the copyright information, the bibliography, or not the bibliography, the table of contents. Back matter includes the bibliography, for example. Index goes in the back matter. Here's my pictures that I got, all of them. This one I made, but all the rest of them are those Creative Commons license we were talking about. This is a chapter. Main brings everything together. If we look at my main, you can see I'm just like including this input command, just imports the file name declarations.txt. This imports the file name frontmatter.txt. Right? So I'm mostly just including those, right? And then I set up my parts. I'm including another part. So if I want to look at what's in part one, you can see I'm just including other things. So if I look at one of my chapters, part one pulls together the chapters and main pulls together the parts. If I look at contraindications, for example, I actually have all my stuff written. And I can write whatever I want here. Like, I don't need to worry about keeping this formatted. What I do is I'm just writing. The way I have it set right now, I have it to where text width is 80 characters. So when it hits 80 characters, it'll automatically put a new line and start a new line at the 80 character mark. This happened because this was all one word, one line. So it was like, all right, that's one word, so I'm going to break it here. But it only does it. But if I want to fix that, let's say put some spaces here, right? I can go to the top of the page and then I can type lowercase g, lowercase q, uppercase G. And what that does is it aligns all the existing text from where the cursor starts, which was at the top of the page, all the way to the bottom of the page, which is what the capital G tells it to do. And it'll reassign all this text for me, right? And then if I don't want that change, of course, because it's, you see it realigned it a little bit. It's still got too long a word here, but that's how I work with it in Vim. I'm not going to keep that change. Git status, git log. You can see my log. I just maintain the whole thing through Git repository. Let's look at my declarations. So I'm including stuff that I need to make the book behave the way I want. This is so I could write a little function to make a reusable table. This lets me use colors. This lets me do clickable links in the ebook format. That lets me include pictures. This is actually the function that I wrote. You can see if I look at shroom tables, I'm including that. This is the function that lets me build the little table that I wanted to build. What else? A lot of these are just chapters. You can see here I am calling that function that I made, print table. Print table is the name of the function inside of shroom tables. And then I'm just like feeding variables. Common name is the variable. It's weird because you can put spaces in it, which is abnormal to us, but you can see I just write these variables and then I use a little comma and go to the next variable. It looks weird because it's all one line like that. It doesn't look like code, but it's not really supposed to. Yeah, so anyway, it's status, make sure I don't have any changes in here. All right, now if I run a make, it runs through all these steps and builds the file. Now I can reload this file that I had open, and here it is. This is my book. I can go up to the top, click on these links. This is the title page. I need to make some art for this page, so it's just a blank right now. But then I have my acknowledgments. You can see it automatically creates these page numbers. There's my table of contents. It automatically generated all of this on its own. I didn't need to define any of this. It just happens. Anytime I make changes to it and I rerun it, if I could rearrange stuff and it'll rearrange it and get the numbering correctly. So I don't need to do any of that manually. I've only written up to chapter 3 so far, but I've done it pretty fast. And then it builds my document out, right? So I have all the structure in place already. I just am filling out chapters at this point. And here's chapter 3. You can see I have pictures. Here's my reusable tables. Yeah, so for each one of them, I didn't have to rebuild this table over and over again. I just call that function one time for each one. And then all the way at the bottom, you see my bibliography. So anytime at the top where you see like a citation, you'll see a little number. And if you can click on that citation, it'll bring you straight down here to it. And then you can go digging into, as the reader, you can go digging into my sources. And if it's a website, you can click on it. Actually, I need to update that. This is not correctly formatted. I should be able to click on that. But you can click on these ones, and it'll just take you straight to my source for the picture, for example. That's where my picture comes from. If you look at it, the picture itself, you can, I need to log in to look at it. But if you log in and look into it, you can see the license of it, that is Creative Commons, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And let me show you how. Okay, that's Vim sources. Where do I have an HTTPS that does not have a, okay, so this is the source database, the bibliography database. And you can see I have some code here for these sources that I'm missing from this one. So if I add that, I can do /URL, and then I can go over here, add the closing braces, I'm gonna go ahead and let this be longer than 80 characters, this line, and boom, I can do make, rebuilds the whole document because the file changed, which is defined in the make file. See, if any file with any of these changes, these ones that say wildcard, ooh, that's an accident. Let me fix that. These ones that say wildcard are optional, they may or may not be present, but if they are present and they do change, it'll force a rebuild. Let's make sure we do make clean ls. I don't want any .toc files remaining. Okay, yeah. .toc, okay. Cool. So that was broken code anyway, so anyway, that doesn't matter. But yeah, now you can see if I, it's not there because I made it clean and then make. Now that's a clickable link. I can go straight to it. But yeah, so that's LaTeX. That's how it's going for me. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, you see all these extra files that it generates along the way. .toc is a file it generates while it's building the table of contents. .blg and .bbl are files it generates while it's building its bibliography. The log is just the log. I can dig into that for error messages or warnings. If I wanted to like maybe look at the warnings and say, oh, well, this is causing a display problem and I want to fix it or whatever. It's rare to need to do that, though. You're not even supposed to worry about it until your entire document is complete, because once your entire document is complete, you'll know exactly how it's going to automatically format things, and you can go in and manually tweak stuff with code changes. But yeah, I wanted to show you that because it's awesome.